My name is Daniel Harper. I am 69 years old. A retired firefighter from a small town in Ohio. And for the last 7 years I have been nothing more than a human credit card to my only daughter, Emma. Everyone said she looked exactly like her mother. Same green eyes. Same stubborn little smile. Her mother, Sarah, died giving birth to her. I held Sarah's hand as she slipped away and promised her 2 things. I would keep Emma safe. I would never let her feel the emptiness of growing up without a mom. I kept those promises until the day I realized Emma had been using them as a blank check. It started small. College tuition, of course. Then rent when she moved to Chicago with her boyfriend Ryan. Then the dog. 3 dogs, actually. All emotional support animals. Then the $18,000 IVF rounds because, Dad, we're ready for a baby and time is running out. I cashed in my retirement early. Sold the boat Sarah and I used to take on Lake Erie. Canceled my own knee surgery twice so they could have just 1 more cycle. Every time Emma called crying, I wired the money before she finished the sentence. I told myself, this is what fathers do. I told myself, she will invite me in when the baby comes. I told myself a lot of lies. Then came the text that ended my life as I knew it. Friday. 3:17 p.m. A group message to the entire family chat. Surprise! Ryan and I got married at City Hall today. We wanted to keep it tiny and stress-free, no big wedding. Just us and the people who matter most. Love you all. I stared at the phone until the screen went black. I refreshed Instagram. There they were, Emma in a simple white dress. Ryan in a new suit, both bought with my credit card last month, and standing proudly on either side. Ryan's parents, his 2 sisters, his brother-in-law, his best friend from college, and the fertility doctor who had been doing their treatments. 10 people in total. My name was not on the marriage license witness line. My face was not in a single photo. My daughter had married the love of her life, surrounded by the people who mattered most. And I was not one of them. I called her. Straight to voicemail. I texted, Emma, honey, I don't understand. Seen. No reply. For 3 days my messages stayed on read. On the 4th day my phone rang. Emma's voice, bright and breezy. Hey, Dad. Sorry, we've been so busy with thank you cards. Listen, we're $800 short for the final embryo transfer deposit tomorrow morning. Can you Venmo it real quick? You're the best. I sat down on the kitchen floor. The same spot where I used to sit with toddler Emma feeding her mashed bananas. I felt something inside me snap, clean and final. Like a bone that had been cracked for years finally giving way. I spoke very slowly so my voice would not shake. Emma? You got married 4 days ago and didn't tell me. You posted pictures with everyone, except your own father. And now you want money? She laughed, nervous. Dad, it was just a quick thing at City Hall. We didn't want drama or expense. We're going to have a big party later, and of course you'll be there. Will I? I asked. Dad, don't be like that. Emma, I said. I only help the people who matter most. Silence. Then, Dad, that's not fair. No, I answered. What's not fair is raising a little girl alone for 29 years and finding out I'm not even allowed to watch her become a wife. I hung up. That was the day Daniel Harper, the walkover dad, the yes man, the human ATM, died. They declared war the very next week. First came the tears and love bombing. Emma showed up at my door with Ryan and a box of my favorite donuts. Daddy, we're so sorry. We were overwhelmed. We didn't mean to hurt you. Ryan actually hugged me and called me Dad for the first time in 5 years. I let them in. I made coffee. And when they slid the temporary power of attorney across the table, just in case your memory gets worse, I smiled, stood up, and asked them to leave. They left crying. I changed the locks the same afternoon. Then came the smear campaign. Suddenly I was confused, paranoid, showing early dementia. Emma called my doctor crying and got him to write a vague letter about recent personality changes. They convinced 2 neighbors I barely knew to say I was talking to myself in the yard and accusing family of stealing. They filed for emergency guardianship, claiming I was a danger to myself because I had canceled all their automatic payments and credit cards. The court date was set for 6 weeks later. I hired a lawyer named Valerie Ortiz, a woman who looked like she ate entitled children for breakfast. For the first time in 7 years, I spent money on myself. On someone who was fighting for Emmy, not against me. We gathered everything, 7 years of bank statements, over $187,000 total. The congratulatory text I sent the day they got engaged that went unanswered for 2 days. The City Hall photos with the caption, "The people who matter most." Screenshots of Emma asking for money 72 hours after the wedding. My perfect score on the court-ordered cognitive exam, higher than the judge's. Valerie whispered closing parenthesis. The day of the hearing I wore the same suit I wore to Sarah's funeral. I needed her with me. Emma took the stand first. Crying so hard the bailiff brought her tissues. She talked about how close we used to be. How I had changed. How she was terrified. I was being scammed by new friends. Meaning the support group for parents of estranged adult children I had quietly joined. She said the words early onset dementia 4 times. Never once looked at me. When Valerie cross-examined her, the mask slipped. "Miss Harper, when was the last time you called your father without asking for money?" We talked all the time. Specific date, please. Emma couldn't name one. Is it true you got married without inviting your father? It was small. Is it true you posted photos with the caption, "The people who matter most"? Emma went white. Valerie turned to the judge and said, "Your Honor, I believe the plaintiff has just answered her own question herself." I took the stand. Last, I didn't prepare a speech, I just told the truth. I held my wife as she died giving life to our daughter. I promised Sarah I would love Emma enough for both of us. I thought that meant giving her everything she asked for. I was wrong. Love is not a bank account you keep emptying. Love is invitation. Love is presence. My daughter chose neither. So today I choose me. And if that makes me the villain in her story, then so be it. At least I'm no longer the doormat. The judge didn't even leave the bench. Petition denied with prejudice. The plaintiff will pay all court costs. Then she looked straight at Emma and said, "Young lady, your father is sharper than most people half his age. I suggest you spend less time in my courtroom and more time in therapy." Emma ran out crying. Ryan followed without looking back. I sat there until the courtroom emptied. Then I finally let myself cry for Sarah. For the little girl who used to fall asleep on my chest. And for the man who had to bury them both. 6 months later, I sold the big house with the swing set still in the backyard. I bought a small lake cottage 2 hours north. The kind Sarah and I always talked about. I got the knee surgery I had postponed for 7 years. I started woodworking again. Something I gave up when Emma needed the garage for storage. And last month I did something I never thought I would. I threw myself a wedding reception. I invited 20 people who actually love me. My firehouse brothers, my neighbors who checked on me every day during the court case. The men from the support group who became my new family. I rented the same banquet room downtown where Emma once had her graduation party. I wore a new suit. I played the father-daughter dance song Sarah and I had picked out before she died. At Last by Etta James. And I danced with Valerie. With my neighbor's wife. With every woman who wanted to dance with an old man who finally learned how to say no. At midnight I stood up and made a toast with the champagne I bought myself. To Sarah, who taught me how to love. To Emma, who taught me when to stop. And to every parent watching this right now, who is scared to death of losing their child if they ever say the word no. You won't lose your child. You will only lose the version of them that never existed. And you will find yourself. And trust me, you are worth finding. I still keep one photo from Emma's City Hall wedding. It's the one where she's laughing in Ryan's arms. Happier than I have ever seen her. Sometimes I look at it and whisper to Sarah, "We did our best, darling." She just didn't want our best. She wanted our last. I never heard from Emma again. Last I heard, she's working 2 jobs and they sold the designer crib I bought. Before I was cut off. Some nights I sit on my new dock and watch the sunset over the lake. The water is quiet. The phone doesn't ring with emergencies that are not mine. And for the first time since the silence doesn't feel empty. It feels like peace. My name is Daniel Harper. I am 70 years old next month. And I have finally kept the most important promise I ever made to Sarah. I kept myself alive, not just breathing. Alive. If you are a parent watching this and you are terrified to stop the money because you think they will stop loving you, let me tell you something I learned the hardest way possible. They already did. The money was just keeping you from seeing it. Stop paying. Start living. You deserve a seat at your own table too.